Happy hello, everyone. Forget sweet dreams, let's talk happy dreams. It turns out one of the best things you can do for your happiness is nothing at all.
My name is Ryan Wingfield, and my job is to make people happy. After years of doing stand-up comedy, I've devoted an entire year to the study of happiness. Join me each week right here on a Road Comics Road to Happiness.
I am fortunate to be a good sleeper, at least when my schedule permits. One of the downsides of being a stand-up comic / trophy husband is that my schedule is constantly shifting between daddy time, where I have to wake up early and make my family breakfast, and comedy time, where my workday doesn't start until 8 p.m. and I'm lucky if I get to bed by 2 a.m. Add to that the travel I do, which sometimes requires me to sleep in my car for 3 hours at a time, and I have my fair share of caffeine dependency. And by the way, if you think it's tough to be a good husband and father when you're exhausted, imagine if you have zero sleep and people expect you to be funny. I'm sure this comes as no surprise, but people tend to get cranky when they haven't had a lot of sleep. It's one of the reasons why you should never complain to the parents of a newborn child. Speaking of which, parents of young kids may notice their kids are a lot easier to manage when they're sleeping through the night and getting regular naps every day. I've always said it's a lot easier to parent when your children are unconscious. It's not just new parents who suffer from a lack of shut-eye. According to the National Sleep Foundation, only about 1 in 4 adults get the recommended 8 hours of sleep they need every night. Personally, I blame Netflix and Facebook. What's more, people almost never make up lost hours, and most of us are carrying a sleep debt from previous late nights that have built up over weeks, months, or even years. And, much like credit card debt, most of us have more than we would like to admit. In experiments where people were directed to stay in bed, most people needed several days of sleeping 12 hours or more before their bodies resumed a natural routine of 7 to 9 hours. So, instead of packing your next vacation full of activities, maybe just spend a couple of days sleeping in. But what is it about a good night's sleep that makes us happy and a lack of sleep that makes us cranky? It's the same thing that makes teenagers so moody: hormones. A sleep-deprived body produces a lot more stress hormones, which, ironically, can make it harder to sleep. Those same chemicals also limits your brain's ability to keep your emotions in check. One study looked at the brains of sleep-deprived people and found that the emotional centers of their brains became 60% more active when they were shown a gory image. Researchers believe that their prefrontal cortex wasn't able to send out signals which inhibited emotions. In other words, it broke their brain's angry filters, and emotions which normally would have been suppressed were brought to the surface. Another way that chemicals affect your body is a lack of sleep lowers men's testosterone, which affects your libido. That's a good reason why you and your partner might be in a bad mood. Aside from directly affecting your mood, a lack of sleep can affect other aspects of your life, which will indirectly make you less happy. A lack of sleep increases your chance of a car crash, poor work performance, and it taxes your immune system. That means you're more likely to suffer from heart disease, high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, stroke, and yes, depression. The ironic thing is that a lot of people think by shaving off sleep they get more hours out of their day, but many of them may be cutting their lives short. What? If all this doesn't convince you to go to bed early, consider this study from the University of Michigan, which found that an extra hour of sleep every day will bring you more happiness than if you made an extra $60,000 a year at your job. When you do the math, that works out to $134 an hour when you get to sleep. Almost no job in the country pays you so much for doing so little, aside from working for the U.S. Congress. That's all for this edition of a Road Comics Road to Happiness. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave any happy comments below. Next week, you are what you eat. How to add some happy foods to your diet. Until then, stay happy.